Red Bull's collapse, its house of cards, has continued, and now this is pretty huge in terms of the current situation with Red Bull Racing, everybody leaving over the last 18 months, and now it could be culminating in Verstappen. Can you talk us through how this has got to this point in terms of today and the recent history?
Crikey, how have we got to this point? Look, I think I need to start by saying that the Red Bull story is a fascinating one. I think for Red Bull, the structure was probably one that people didn't really consider from an outside perspective, in that, Dietrich Mateschitz was the shareholder. Now he, great story again, and I would urge anyone to look into it, but obviously he co-founded Red Bull The Drink, took a deal to license and market it, having discovered it while he was a traveling salesman working for dentistry products. And, it's really a fascinating story, watching the way that team went from nothing to something, with Sebastian Vettel winning the titles, and then obviously coming back with Verstappen as a successful outfit as well. And, taking on the likes of Ferrari and Mercedes and dominating, and it's been a real remarkable ride. But of course, following Mateschitz's passing in October 22, he died. And no one really understood the structure that he had in place, but it was very much he held the shareholding, he held, half the power, and that he allowed Horner and Helmut Marko to run the day-to-day operation. And what we quickly saw when he passed was that the shareholding was passed down, and it created a vacuum, a power vacuum, and ultimately that was the moment that started to, cause the problems. Everything that went on afterwards, very unsavory, high-profile departures, and they've continued. And you're right to, say that today is an important one. A race engineer leaving a team is not usually so significant, but this was a key figure. Certainly for Max Verstappen, and it's almost feeling like another nail in the coffin of Red Bull. I think operationally, they haven't been very smart this season. I think that communications has been a massive weakness as well. And, I talk to my colleagues who are covering, Red Bull as well on a day-to-day basis. And it's not just my perspective or, GP Blog's perspective, but it is a wider perspective that the team does seem to be struggling a lot with a lot of the factors where it was so strong in the past. And of course, once you get all these factors moving in a direction which the team works against the team, then it becomes a very difficult proposition to turn around. And I think that's where they find themselves in. The narrative is such at the moment that Red Bull are in trouble, and that's not good news for Formula One. It's not good news for Max Verstappen. It's not good news for Red Bull and the people working there. So it's a really tricky situation. You need to turn it around, and I'm not sure the people they have there at the moment are able to do so.
It reminds me a little bit of, and the slightest of spoilers for Game of Thrones and that sort of TV show and their spin-offs. You said power vacuum, and it's having this plan in place. It's particularly, I'm thinking Game of Thrones season 1, when a certain character dies, and all hell breaks loose afterwards because you don't realize the stability that's been set in place. Similar in House of the Dragon, actually, another spin-off, but it might not have been quite so bad if they took Max to the title last year, which, let's be honest, they were very close to doing. But it looks like that's now biting them quite hard on their behind because they're so far back in the development of this car.
The question, as I said before, like the timing of it is really unusual. Why do it now? And if it was happening, why would the team not get on the front foot with it and make the announcement first? How has it leaked out? I think if I was in charge of Red Bull's communication, I'd be looking and asking myself those questions now. Why and how has this situation come out in the way that it has? Because it's made us look weaker. We're losing a key personnel, and not only that, it's made McLaren look stronger and more attractive proposition. And I think that the moment that happens in a Formula One team, you need to sort of look at yourselves and think, hang on a minute, we've empowered one of our rivals. They've actually taken one of our key players, if you like, and we look a bit silly as a result of that.
Indeed. Let us know what you think about this whole situation. Are Red Bull really going to be falling out of favour in Formula One? Comment below.